This is Marinduque, popularly known as the heart of the Philippines because of its shape and geographical location. The island of Marinduque is also known for its natural resources and hospitable people. According to Comans, year 1996, Marinduque had no known history of mining until Marcopper Mining Corporation operated in the province. Marcopper Mining Corporation provide more than 1,000 employments, mostly for the Marinduqueños. However, the mine operation there have caused innumerable trouble, such as serious health and environmental problems that place the community at risk. With that being said, Marcopper Mining Corporation is a disaster since the very beginning of its operation. With this very reason, the researcher conducted a qualitative research study that aims to determine how Marcopper mining spill disaster affects the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. This is to disseminate knowledge about the Marcopper mining spill disaster. Good day, everyone. I am Alia Daniela Pondivideriego, a grade 11 STEM student of Landi National High School, proudly presenting my study entitled Deferred Justice: How Marcopper Mining Spill Disaster Affects the Residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. This study was conducted to determine how the Marcopper mining spill disaster affects the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. Findings revealed that Marcopper mining spill disaster is very evident in the residents living along with the locality of Santa Cruz until now. But the information to be able to respond to the mining disaster is not sufficient, since many of them did not receive any demanded payment of compensation that was never given in the first place. This study determines how the Marcopper mining spill disaster affects the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. Specifically, this study will focus on answering the following questions. How does the forgotten issue of Marcopper Mining Corporation turns out deferred justice to the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque? What problems were encountered by the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque due to the Marcopper mining spill disaster? And lastly, what program interventions can be made by the local and national governments in this kind of environmental problem? The study's findings may provide a deeper understanding of how the Marcopper mining spill disaster affects the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. To the residents, the result may serve as their voice to be heard out by the government, even if they don't speak about it. This can also be the way for them to achieve the justice they have dreamed for a long time suffering effects of the said disaster. To the local and national government, the result may serve as their inspiration in pursuing justice for the Marcopper mining spill disaster victims. This may encourage them to maintain the closure order against Marcopper so they cannot operate again, and to consolidate action raising the total ban of any form of mining activity in the province. And lastly, to the future researchers, this study could also be a stepping stone for future researchers since they can set this as an example where they can extract ideas and bases necessary in studying Marcopper mining spill disaster and other related topics. This is the conceptual framework of the study, wherein the input consists of the following: Marcopper mining spill disaster and the residents of the locality of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. On the other side, the process being used is through a qualitative approach, which is phenomenology, data gathering procedure as survey questionnaire, and purposive sampling for its statistical method. The outputs are the strategies and plans of action by the local and national government to secure what they can to make up for the pain and suffering of the residents. The researcher wants to find out to what makes the Marcopper mining spill disaster defer justice to the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque, and how it affects them. The table shows how the researcher researched, surveyed, and solved the thesis statement. This presents the methods and procedures employed by the researcher, the description of the respondents, the procedure, the instruments or tools used in gathering data, the research locale, and the statistical instrument used in order to analyze and interpret the data gathered through a questionnaire. This utilized the qualitative approach in gathering information for the study. Danzin and Lincoln, year 1994, stated that qualitative research as a multi-method in focus, involving an interpretative, naturalistic approach to its subjective manner. The researcher conducted the gathering of the data at the locality of Santa Cruz with regards to their experiences in the Marcopper mining spill disaster in the province of Marinduque. It was implemented on 12 local residents in Santa Cruz. Survey questionnaire was the data collection instrument for the study. To record the respondents' answers, the researcher used phones to receive their answers through Google Forms and calls to assist in accuracy and to obtain the needed information. Parallel to this, it gives the participants privacy, especially when identity is not required and the researcher's direct interaction is minimized, thereby encouraging participants to express themselves freely. Moreover, a questionnaire will be used as the researcher's guide while conducting the said interview. Purposive sampling will be conducted as the data gathering procedure of the study. In accordance to Black, year 2010, purposive sampling is a non-probability sampling method, and it occurs when elements selected for the sample are chosen by the judgment of the researcher. It can obtain a representative sample by using sound judgment, which will result in saving time and money. The data collected will be qualitatively analyzed through undergoing data validation, thematic analysis, and research coding. And we are now on results of the study. The table shows the analysis of the participants' answer to the statement of the problem. The first problem shows how the same-forgotten issue of Marcopper Mining Corporation turns out deferred justice to the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque, and the results revealed that there is no proper compensation given to them in the first place. This data shows that Marcopper mining spill disaster brought negative effects such as poverty, job loss, health hazards, financial problems, and bereavement. In connection to the effects of Marcopper, another data was collected where the participants suggest some program intervention or steps that local and national government should implement. Hence, data reveals that they are against the reopening of mining industry. Conclusions. Based from the findings of the study, the following conclusions were drawn. The Marcopper mining spill disaster is very evident in the residents living along with the locality of Santa Cruz until now. But the information to be able to respond to the mining disaster is not sufficient, since many of them did not receive any demanded payment of compensation that was never given in the first place. According to the participants, the Marcopper mining spill disaster continued to be affected the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. It has negative effects on them, such as poverty, job loss, health hazards, financial problems, and bereavement. Overall, it has been found out that the residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque are against the reopening of the mining company, afraid that the same or worse than before the calamity might happen again. Based from the findings of the survey questionnaire and in the review, the following recommendations are proposed for disseminating knowledge and raising voices of the residents still suffering from its aftermath. The following recommendations are raising public awareness of the past and present effects of Marcopper mining spill disaster, proper government intervention should be given, and coordination with other government agencies. Therefore, it must be remembered as Marcopper mining spill disaster. If justice delayed is justice denied, then it is reasonable to say that the people of Santa Cruz, Marinduque rather, have long been denied of something so difficult to obtain in this country. By depriving the people of compensations and rehabilitation of affected river systems, they have committed an environmental and social injustice and long since neglected the residents' human rights. Once again, I'm Alia Daniela Pondivida Riego, proudly presenting my study entitled Deferred Justice: How Marcopper Mining Spill Disaster Affects the Residents of Santa Cruz, Marinduque. Thank you very much, and good day to all of you.